Imagine growing up in a home where every smile, every hug, and every word of praise feels like it's meant for someone else. That's the world I lived in. A world where my dad's love was a treasure chest, but the key was only given to my brother. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into stories of betrayal, heartbreak, and the sweet taste of justice. Today, I'm sharing a tale that's going to pull at your heartstrings and leave you cheering for the underdog. It's about a daughter who was always second best until she decided enough was enough. What happens when favoritism turns toxic and revenge becomes the only way to heal? Stick around, because this story starts with a picture-perfect family, or so it seemed. Picture this: a cozy suburban house, laughter echoing from the kitchen, and a dad who's the hero of every family photo. But behind those frames, there's a shadow. Me, Paisley, the forgotten daughter. From the moment my brother Jake was born, it was like I faded into the background. Dad would beam with pride at Jake's every little achievement, while my straight A's and soccer trophies collected dust on the shelf. "He's the future of this family," Dad would say, his eyes lighting up only for him. I remember one Christmas morning, unwrapping gifts side by side. Jake got the latest bike, shiny and new, while I got hand-me-down clothes from a cousin. That sting, it never went away. As the years passed, the favoritism grew like a weed, choking out any chance of fairness. But little did Dad know, his blind love was planting the seeds for a revenge that would shatter everything. Let's rewind to where it all began. My name is Paisley, and I was the firstborn in what should have been a loving family. Mom was the glue holding us together, kind, patient, always trying to balance the scales. Dad, he was a hard-working man, running his own small construction business. But from day one, he had this old-fashioned idea that sons carry the legacy. Boys are strong, they build empires, he'd joke, but it wasn't funny to me. Jake came along when I was 5, and suddenly I was invisible. I'd draw pictures for Dad, hoping for a pat on the back, but he'd glance and say, "That's nice, honey," before turning to Jake's scribbles like they were masterpieces. School days were the worst. I'd come home excited about winning a spelling bee, and Dad would nod absent-mindedly. But if Jake scored a goal in Pee-wee soccer, the whole neighborhood heard about it. Dinners turned into Jake fests, with Dad recounting his son's day like it was front-page news. Mom would squeeze my hand under the table, whispering, "He loves you too, sweetie." But deep down, I knew it wasn't equal. As teens, it got uglier. Dad paid for Jake's fancy guitar lessons, but when I wanted art classes, we can't afford extras right now. Extras? Jake got a new car for his 16th birthday. I got bus fare. The hurt built up, layer by layer, like a storm cloud ready to burst. I tried talking to Dad once, tears in my eyes. "Why do you treat us differently?" He brushed it off. "You're overthinking it, Paisley. Jake just needs a little push." That little push was everything I craved. Friends noticed, too. They'd say, "Your dad's obsessed with your brother." It embarrassed me, made me withdraw. I poured my energy into studies, dreaming of escape, college far away, a life where I wasn't second fiddle. But fate had other plans. Mom got sick when I was 18, cancer sneaking in like a thief. She fought hard, but in her final months, she pulled me close. "Don't let this break you, Paisley. Stand up for yourself." Her words echoed as we said goodbye. With Mom gone, the divide widened. Dad leaned on Jake even more, leaving me to handle the grief alone. I moved out for college, but the pain followed. Calls home were short. Dad always rushed to talk about Jake's latest success. It was time to face the truth. This wasn't just favoritism, it was betrayal. Fast forward a few years. I'm 22, fresh out of college with a degree in graphic design, hustling for freelance gigs. Jake? Dad handed him a spot in the family business. No experience needed. He's a natural leader, Dad boasted at family gatherings. I landed my first big client, a logo for a local startup, and called home excited. Dad's response? That's great, but did you hear? Jake just closed his first deal. It was like a slap. The favoritism wasn't subtle anymore. It was blatant, rubbing salt in old wounds. Holidays amplified the hurt. Thanksgiving dinner, relatives oohing and awing over Jake's stories, while my updates got polite nods. One aunt even asked, "So, Paisley, still single and freelancing?" As if my life was lesser. Dad never defended me. He'd chuckle along. The breaking point came at Dad's 50th birthday party. He gave a speech, tears in his eyes. "To my son, Jake, you've made me prouder than I ever imagined. You're the heart of this family." Not a mention of me. I stood there, glass in hand, feeling like an outsider in my own bloodline. That night, alone in my room, the anger boiled over. Why did he love Jake more? Was it because I was a girl? Or something deeper? I dug into old family photos, letters, and found clues. Dad grew up without a father, idolizing the idea of a son to carry on. But that didn't excuse erasing me. The conflict peaked when Dad's business hit rough waters. Economy dipped, clients bailed. I offered help. My design skills could revamp their branding. "Nah, we've got it," Dad said. Instead, he poured money into Jake's wild ideas, like expanding without a plan. Debts piled up. Jake partied hard, blowing cash on nights out, while I scrimped to pay rent. One day, Dad called me desperate. "Paisley, can you loan us a bit, just till we bounce back?" I had saved a little from gigs, $5,000. I wired it, hoping it'd bridge us. But weeks later, I learned the truth. The money went to Jake's new truck, not the business. He needed motivation, Dad explained when confronted. Motivation? I was furious. That was my hard-earned safety net, gone for his golden boy. The betrayal cut deep, not just favoritism, but theft of my trust.
Betrayal doesn't always come with a bang. Sometimes it's a slow poison. Mine culminated in a family meeting Dad called. Business was sinking and he laid it out. We need to make sacrifices. His plan? Sell Mom's old jewelry, heirlooms she'd left to me in her will. "It'll save the company," he said casually. My heart stopped. Those pieces were my last connection to her. A necklace she'd worn every day, rings from her wedding. "But Mom wanted me to have them," I protested. Dad waved it off. "Jake's future is at stake here. Family first." Family? It felt like Jake first, always. I refused, but Dad pressured, guilting me with talks of legacy. Jake smirked in the background, like he knew he'd win. That's when I overheard them later. Dad telling Jake, "Don't worry, son. Paisley will come around. She's always been the emotional one." Emotional? Try heartbroken. The ultimate betrayal hit when I checked the safe. The jewelry was gone. Dad had taken it without asking, pawned it for quick cash. "It was an emergency," he admitted when I exploded. Emergency? Jake's motivation again, funding his latest failed venture. I felt shattered, like my worth was zero. Mom's memory erased for his favorite. That night, sobbing alone, revenge sparked. No more playing nice. It was time to expose the truth, make him feel the pain he'd inflicted for years. Revenge isn't born overnight. It's crafted with care. I started small, gathering evidence, old emails, bank statements, proof of how Dad funneled everything to Jake. My freelance work had taught me digital skills. I built an anonymous blog sharing hypothetical stories of family favoritism. But that wasn't enough. I needed impact. Digging deeper, I found Dad's business wasn't just struggling, it was shady. Tax dodges, under-the-table deals.
Jake was in on it, skimming profits for personal gain. My plan? Expose it all, but smartly. I posed as a potential investor, emailing Dad under a fake name. He bit, sending financials that confirmed the mess. Meanwhile, I reconnected with relatives who'd seen the favoritism, collecting their stories. Aunt Clara admitted, "Your dad always favored boys. It's how he was raised." But sympathy turned to strategy. I hired a private investigator on the cheap, a friend from college, to tail Jake. Photos emerged, him blowing company money on luxuries while Dad covered up. The centerpiece was recovering Mom's jewelry from the pawn shop using my savings. Proof in hand, I set the stage. I created a video, not for YouTube yet, but a private bombshell, narrating our family history with evidence spliced in. This is what favoritism does, I'd say in the script. But the real revenge? Sending it to Dad's business partners anonymously. Let them see the rot. And for Jake, a tip to the IRS about those taxes. No violence, just truth as a weapon. As I hit send, a mix of fear and fire burned inside. Would it destroy them, or finally make them see?
The climax hit like a thunderclap. Days after my anonymous tips, chaos erupted. Dad's partners called an emergency meeting, confronting him with the leaked financials. "What's this about favoritism draining the company?" one demanded. Dad stammered, caught off guard. Jake tried to charm his way out, but the evidence was ironclad. Receipts, photos, even witness statements from employees tired of the bias. The business crumbled. Partners pulled out, leaving Dad with debts he couldn't dodge. Then came the family showdown. I happened to visit home amid the fallout. Dad, pale and shaken, confessed bits. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Paisley." But when I revealed my role, showing the recovered jewelry, his face fell. "You did this?" Shock turned to anger, then realization. Jake exploded. "You're ruining everything!" But I stood tall. "No, you two did. Years of pushing me aside." Tears flowed, mine, Dad's. He broke down, admitting his blind spots. "I thought I was building a legacy, but I lost my daughter." Jake stormed out, but not before the IRS knocked. Audits incoming. The company folded, assets sold to pay debts. Jake lost his easy ride, forced to start over. Me? I walked away with Mom's heirlooms and a weight lifted.
In the aftermath, silence hung heavy. Dad reached out weeks later, voice trembling. "Can we talk?" We met at a coffee shop. No Jake. For the first time, he listened, really listened to my pain. "I was wrong, Paisley. I let old ideas blind me." Apologies flowed, genuine this time. He sold the house to settle debts, moving to a small apartment. Jake, he got a wake-up call, landing a regular job, no handouts. Slowly, bridges mended. Dad started therapy, unpacking his biases. Family dinners became equal. My stories shared, my wins celebrated. I thrived in my career, launching a design firm inspired by Mom. The revenge? It wasn't destruction, it was a reset button. As we wrap this story, remember, favoritism isn't harmless. It's a poison that erodes families from within. Paisley's journey shows that betrayal can scar, but standing up brings justice. The lesson? Love your children equally. They're not trophies or legacies, but individuals deserving fairness. If you're facing similar hurt, speak out, seek help, but choose revenge wisely. Let it heal, not harm. What do you think? Have you seen favoritism like this? Share in the comments. If this story moved you, like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more tales of triumph over betrayal. Until next time, remember, justice always finds a way.